Feast of Christ the King of the universe. You know, one might dream, in a sense, on this feast of Christ the King about the kingdom of God. What's the kingdom of God like in heaven? Nothing wrong with thinking about that and what it might be. But the immediate thought that comes to my mind is a phrase from the Our Father. Thy kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven. In the question, if you will, of how are we and how can we experience the kingdom of God here on earth as it is in heaven? To that question, I'd like to share a story. Many years ago, there was a village synagogue served by a rabbi beloved by his congregation. But the villagers became very concerned because the old rabbi began to disappear from the synagogue after the opening of the Sabbath. Some were afraid that he had forgotten his responsibilities. Some actually worried that he was breaking the Sabbath. But some insisted that the holy rabbi was being spirited up to heaven by Elijah himself to discuss the holy books in the presence of the Holy One. One Sabbath, the night the villagers, the congregation, dispersed one of their number to follow the rabbi. We'll call him a spy. No sooner had the Sabbath candles been lit, the rabbi slipped out of the synagogue, walked quietly down the path through the woods and up a tall mountain. The villager, the congregant, following at a distance, was careful not to be seen. And then the rabbi finally arrived at a small cabin. The spy watched as the rabbi entered the cabin, illuminated by a dying fire. From a small window from outside the side of the cabin, the spy saw an old Gentile woman, Gentile is a non-Jew, lying on a cot. Her breathing was slow and her face sunken. The villager, the spy, was stunned by what he saw next. After greeting the sick woman, the rabbi swept the floor. Then he chopped new wood and fed the fire. The rabbi then drew fresh water from the well and gently helped the woman drink. Finally, the rabbi made a kettle of fresh soup and set it on a small table near the woman's cot. As the rabbi was getting ready to leave, the villager, the spy, immediately ran down the mountain and through the woods back to the synagogue where the congregation was waiting. Well, they asked, some with disdain, some with hope, did our rabbi really go to heaven? Their spy stopped for a moment before answering. Then he said with respectful awe, the rabbi did not go up to heaven. Our rabbi went much higher than that. The kingdom of God is meant to be realized in some way and ways, and hopefully increasingly so, here on earth. And it is when we and other people envision, reflect the God of heaven here on earth, the God of compassion, the God of generosity, the God of love, the God who cares, and so much more. Why? Just because we're all children of God. Race, religion, color of our skin, all that stuff doesn't matter. We're children of God. I had an interesting thing happen yesterday morning. I went to the Praise Chopper. I went to the Latham one, in case you were wondering. Why didn't you go to Clifton Park one, Father? Because there's certain things that I can get at this one the way I want it versus I can't get it up here. My choice. You do your own shopping? Yes, I do. Anyways, I had gotten some items. And it was about, 9:30 or so. And it was busy, but it wasn't super busy. So they didn't have a lot of cashiers. And so I got in line. I was the third one in line. And I'm just looking around, looking at other people, see how patient they are or aren't. And the lady in front of me put a few of her items on the conveyor belt there. And then she turned around to me and she said, "Oh, why don't you go?" She says, "You only have about 15 things." I said, "I'm sure I have more than that." It turns out I had 17. And it wasn't the under 20 aisle. This was 10,000 items per person. And I said to her, "No." And then she said, No, please go." I said, "Well, thank you." And I did. And as I was putting my items on the table or on the counter there, I said to her, "I got to tell you what I do for a living." I said, "I'm a Catholic priest." I said, "I'm going to use you in a homily." So she knew. I don't even know what religion she was. It doesn't matter. And I thought to myself, as I was getting my car and driving back, I said, here's a lady, didn't have to do what she did, and it would not have made a difference in my life at all. But it was kind of her. I heard of a situation, somebody I know personally, who went someplace about a month ago, and they had one item, and they said to the person in front of them who had, 2,000 items, "Can I go before you?" And the answer is no. Okay. But why not? And then I thought to myself, it's Christmas coming up here, folks, in case you didn't know. And we're all going to be busy about what we do. How are we going to bring a little bit of the kingdom of God to the busyness, the rush that's Christmas and preparing for Christmas? How are we going to do that? How are we going to bring a little bit of the kingdom of God to earth in the months and weeks, leading up to Christmas and beyond? Every day, the kingdom of God becomes a reality when people like ourselves, the ordinary people we are, the families we are, the communities we are, go about going about bringing a bit of heaven to the earth as the old rabbi did. By serving God, by our service to others. By honoring and caring for one another as citizens and heirs of the kingdom of God. I was going to tell you another story. I'm going to tell it to you anyways. Before I went to the supermarket yesterday, I went to Panera Bread, and I got a little spinach, bacon, whatever it is, souffle. It was very nice, never had it. And I was at the counter, and I was doing something, and I thought something fell out of my pocket, but I didn't see it. And then this lady behind me says, "Oh, you dropped something." I looked down, it was my little chapstick thing, you know. And I said to the lady, "Oh, thanks a lot." I said, yesterday there was a lady in front of me, and she dropped a $100 bill. I didn't say anything until she walked away, and then I picked it up. I did not. But I did say, I said, I'm just kidding. I did say to the lady, "You dropped some money," and I happened to notice it was a $100 bill. Anyways, so be good.